You're listening to the 10-minute podcast challenge that will prove every place is the same. Welcome your host, the irreverent, the cosmopolitan, the wicked, Daniela Vlaskalic.
Hello, and welcome to Every Place Is The Same. I am pleased to welcome my guest, Lucy Eveleigh. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Lucy, you grew up in Wellington, England.
That's right.
Tell me about that.
It's a very small town in the county of Somerset. I think there's only about 15,000 people, maybe, something like that. Very quiet. It's basically a crossroads. And we grew up in a very small town.
What's it like walking around Wellington?
Well, it's changed a lot, really, since I grew up. It's very, people know each other. It's very community. It's really a sweet place. Growing up, I think there's not much to do there, so people would kind of hang out in the park and maybe, drink alcohol and things like that.
Would you drink alcohol in the park?
I certainly did, yes, yeah. My parents know that, so it's okay.
So, you spent time in Wellington, New Zealand.
I did, yeah.
What's it look like?
Wellington, New Zealand?
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's big and expansive and hilly. Although when I was there was a giant storm, so I was supposed to be traveling to the island from Wellington, but I couldn't actually leave. It was the rain was too much. The weather was terrible.
Does it rain in Wellington, England?
Oh yeah, it rains all the time in England.
So you were used to that?
I was used to it. Yes, yeah.
Would you say that Wellington, England and Wellington, New Zealand are the same?
No. I think there's similarities, but Wellington, New Zealand has a little bit more going on.
Well, today, on Every Place Is The Same, we are going to prove that Wellington, England, in the county of Somerset, and Wellington, New Zealand, are in fact the same.
Okay.
So you talked about rain, storms. Experienced that in both places?
Yes, I have. Well, growing up, for sure, I was used to rain, walking to school every day. It was often dark, and that's my memory, is like walking to school in the dark a little bit. Rain, for sure. It rains most places in England, so I got used to that. Kind of just don't even think about it anymore. I don't even carry an umbrella because it doesn't seem to affect me. And then New Zealand, I went by myself during like the summer of New Zealand, so I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but certainly when I got to Wellington, New Zealand, there was a lot of rain.
Well, Tina Turner says she can't stand the rain. What can't you stand?
I can't stand rudeness.
The Hobbit.
Yes.
Did you experience any hobbits in New Zealand? In Wellington, specifically?
Not personally. My friend who I went to stay with worked on that movie, so I got to experience it vicariously, but I don't think hobbits are real.
Would you find a hobbit in Wellington, England?
No, not unless you were using it in a derogatory term about somebody.
So, hobbits, you wouldn't find real hobbits in Wellington, England or Wellington, New Zealand?
I don't think so. I think they're fictional characters.
Did you ever smoke?
Yes.
Sounds like a bad hobbit.
You're right, it was.
Now, New Zealand was the first country to give women the vote.
I didn't know that.
Wellington, England, you can vote there now, can you?
Yes.
Did you vote there?
Yes.
So voting is important to you?
It is.
What did you do in Wellington, New Zealand?
I mostly hung out with my friend Adrian. I looked around. I met some other friends there. I think I just walked around. We stayed home. We watched movies.
What was your favorite thing to see in Wellington, New Zealand?
Well, my friend lived at the very top of a hill, and so I think the view was one of the most beautiful things about Wellington, New Zealand. It's right on the edge of the island, so it's a beautiful landscape. I think that was my favourite part.
So you say you hung out there. Did you hang out in Wellington, England?
Very much so, yes.
So if you were in the mood to hang out with friends, you could do that in either city?
Yes, I could.
So that's similar, isn't it?
I mean, yes, it is.
And you like to hang out in the outdoors, it sounds like.
I do, very much so.
So Wellington, New Zealand, is it green?
It's very green.
Wellington, England?
Is also green.
So you like the color green?
I do. I like the countryside, you're right.
Have you ever been green with envy?
I'm afraid I have.
It's natural.
It is, yeah.
Did you ever attend the carnival in Wellington, England?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Oh my goodness, the carnival is my favourite. Well, it's an annual event. We used to live above a shop, and you could see, we used to stand on the edge, and we used to be able to look down at all the floats. So there was a whole bunch of floats that would go by. They used to like collect money for charity, and they would put like these big funnels up to your window so you could put money in, and you'd see it go all the way down into like this big tray of money. At the same time, I think it was when they used to have the window competition. My dad won that one year because we owned a shop. You had to like dress the window in a scene, like a village scene. He used to do that every year, actually. Yeah, the carnival was the best.
What was that scene?
He did many, but it was like I think there was like a miniature village one that was the best one. That might have been the one that he won.
So he created a village in a village.
Yeah, basically. Very meta.
So you would look out from high above down onto the carnival below.
Yes.
In New Zealand, you would sit up high and look out down below.
Yes.
What would you see below you?
In Wellington, New Zealand, other houses, greenery, sheep. There's a lot of sheep in New Zealand. That is a true fact.
Sheep in the UK?
There are indeed.
Wool making and cloth making, one of the biggest industries in Wellington, England. Is that correct?
It certainly was, yeah. I'm not sure if it is so much now, but it was.
Sounds a bit sheepish, doesn't it?
It does.
So Wellington was a place for trade, textiles. What is Wellington known for now? Wellington in the UK.
It's so funny. We were just having this conversation with my dad and talking about what it used to be, farmland and textiles and things. And now there's a big factory that makes mattresses. That's probably one of the biggest places of employment. And I don't know if aerosols still exist, but there was also a factory that made all of the aerosols.
And in Wellington?
Wellington, New Zealand. Well,
yes.
Weather FX is out of New Zealand, which is the special effects company that did things like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Would you need some aerosol for those FX?
You might, yeah.
There's a monument in Wellington, England.
There sure is.
Tell me about that monument.
I just went there a couple of weeks ago. I took Sloane up to the monument. It's beautiful. It's one of my favourite places to be. It's a beautiful view of the town. They're having trouble right now because it is crumbling, essentially. It's not safe, so they have a big fence around it. You used to be able to walk up it. It's one of my biggest regrets in life that I never walked up to the top of the Wellington Monument. I was too scared at the time. But you can. But yeah, it's not safe anymore. So they're trying to save money to... It was erected for the Duke of Wellington.
Sloane is your lovely daughter. You may hear her playing in the background.
You might, yes.
So you took Sloane up to see the monument.
Yeah.
What is the monument of?
It's an obelisk. Is that the word? It's one of the tallest, I think, buildings, or it was at the time. It might be the tallest obelisk, I think. There's a fact around that. I was just reading. So yeah, but you used to be able to go inside it. It's just like a beautiful shaped building.
And what does it represent?
Duke of Wellington.
Now, who is the Duke of Wellington?
Oh my God, this is embarrassing because we were just talking about this with my dad.
Defeated Napoleon.
Yes.
At the Battle of Waterloo.
Yes.
Do you like ABBA?
Sure, yeah.
Waterloo?
It's a great song.
There was a battle there.
Yes, there was. I was just dancing to that song the other day.
The Beehive.
The hairdo?
The Parliament Building.
Oh.
Lucy, an obelisk is a tall, four-sided, narrow, tapering monument which ends in a pyramid-like shape at the top. Some would say the executive wing of the New Zealand Parliament Building, also known as the Beehive, has an obelisk feel to it. Famous people from Wellington, UK.
I don't know if he's from there, but David Suchet went to Wellington private school, who plays Poirot, one of my favourites, and his brother, who was a newsreader in the UK. They both went to Wellington school. Yeah, you know those guys, right, sir?
How many people grew up in your home?
6 of us.
Sounds like a crowded house. Do you know the band Crowded House?
Yeah, I used to love them.
Do you know any of their songs?
4 Seasons in One Day.
And would that describe New Zealand? Wellington, for example?
Very accurately, yes, yeah.
Tell me about the song.
I think it's about New Zealand. I think it's about the fact that the weather changes literally within one day from sunny to freezing cold to a storm, which is probably also representative of a love song, I'm sure, but I always took it to mean that it was about the weather, because that's how it felt when I was in New Zealand.
Were you involved in the Wellington Arts Association?
I sure was.
Do tell.
Well, that was my first foray into the performing arts, and my first role was, in fact, a sheep, Susie the sheep. She was in Rumpelstiltskin, the pantomime.
Were you involved in the arts in Wellington in New Zealand?
No, I was not.
But you could have dressed up as a sheep and you would have fit right in.
I think so, yeah. They wouldn't have even noticed.
Did Susie Sheep have any lines?
No. Oh, they did teach me how to say bar properly, because often the misconception is that a sheep says bar with a B, but actually it's meh with an M sound. So I learnt that. But I was allowed to sing in the songs, I just didn't have any lines. But apparently Susie could sing.
So Susie was a singing sheep?
She was.
And what did she sing?
Oh my God, I can't remember. I was 14.
But you did learn how to properly make the sound of a sheep?
Yes.
Sloane, can you make a sheep sound? Very, very good.
I taught her well.
Lucy, I want to thank you for being my guest today. Whether you're looking down at a scene below, whether you're defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, whether you're playing a sheep, admiring a sheep, or just being sheepish, Lucy, thank you for helping me prove that Wellington, England, and Wellington, New Zealand are in fact the same.
I didn't think you could do it, but you did.
You just listened to Everyplace Is The Same, hosted by Daniela Vlaskalic and produced by Drumcast Productions. For more content and to help keep this podcast ad-free, visit our Patreon account. That's patreon.com/everyplaceisthesame. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Twitter or Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Everyplace Is The Same. Until the next time, enjoy your travels.